getting ready for the wedding season. I'm on my way to a wedding. I'm walking to a wedding. I'm going to bring you along and we're going to talk all about the things you need to do to get ready for your wedding season.
Thanks to Liam for letting me join him for today's wedding. We're doing a video about 85mm lenses, which is going to be out on the channel soon, so subscribe if you like 85mm lenses. Now, the first thing I do to get ready for the wedding season is to get my editing on Autopilot. I use Imagen, and it's basically pattern recognition for your editing. So you give it some edits that you've done in the past, and it will begin to edit exactly like you, but it's actually a lot more consistent than me, at least. I tend to be a little bit all over the place when I'm editing a full gallery. I overthink what presets to use in certain situations, and my white balances also tend to shift as ambient in my office changes as I'm editing. So Imagen just gives me a better final product overall. It's also faster, so much faster. I'm uploading this gallery from today right now, and within 10 minutes, it's going to be back to me edited as if I spent a full editing day on it. And the images that you're going to be seeing throughout this video are straight from Imagen. I haven't touched them at all after they came back. For a regular wedding gallery, I will go through the gallery after it comes back, and I usually spend about 15 or 20 minutes just verifying everything is as I want it to be, and maybe changing up a few images that didn't come back exactly how I wanted. And then I upload those final edits for Imagen to learn from, and it will do an even better job next time. And if you want my profile, so the profile that I actually use to edit, I will give it to you for free. It's usually $200. All you have to do is sign up to Imagen using the link in the video description. You get 1,500 free edits to get started, and you also get my profile for free. And not only that, but you'll also get my full 2.5-hour wedding photography course completely free as well. So use that link, get started. This system really will change your life. Imagen also does video now, but more to come on that later in this video.
All right, Liam, what do you do to prepare for wedding season?
I have so many things I do to prepare for wedding season. It's absolutely insane. You're not going to believe it. Sometimes I upgrade my laptop if I need some more space. I haven't done that yet. I should do that. I make sure all my gear is good to go. Make sure it's generally like clean and everything's like functional and working. I do shoot some weddings throughout the winter, but I'm not stress testing things as much as I do in the summer months, of course, or in the fall months. And overall, just make sure that I send out like questionnaires for the wedding days. Kind of just have like a good idea of what's going on. I find that the sooner I send out questionnaires, the sooner I start getting some information back. I used to just send them out like 4 months or 4 weeks before each wedding, but lately I've been sending them out a few months in advance, maybe 3 or 4 months in advance, and then I start getting information back, and I get to kind of start seeing the locations, because when couples fill out my contact form, they send in their location, but after that I kind of forget where their location is, where their venue is, until that questionnaire comes back. So getting those back sooner and kind of getting the notifications from my system on my phone to let me know where I'm at kind of helps me plan a little bit better and just gives me an overall sense of like where I'm going to be on what day, which is very helpful for scheduling things like my daughter's birthday party or my own birthday party and kind of just like general life stuff like that. So I feel like that's the extent of what I do. Physically, I try to do some fitness throughout the year to keep my body sort of just used to squatting and doing all the stuff that you do in wedding season. That way it's not like a shock to my body when suddenly I'm shooting a wedding and all of a sudden my back just like snaps and then I'm just like on the floor and not shooting the ceremony because I'm just dead. That's about it. That's all that comes to mind for now. Thanks for asking, Taylor.
Very uplifting, a lot in there about birthday parties.
Yes.
Next, let's talk about gear. Today, I only have 85mm lenses with me, but I usually have a lot more. Getting ready for the wedding season, I will usually begin with a sensor cleaning. If you shoot wide open pretty often, like I do, you're probably not going to see much sensor dust, but it's good practice to make sure that your sensors are clean. You can do this yourself if you trust yourself, or you can bring them in to be professionally cleaned. Next up, I like to make sure that my cameras are on the newest firmware. I don't like downloading brand new firmware, so if it just came out a few days ago, I'm not going to install that. But if it's been out for a few months and I haven't heard any complaints, I'm happy to update my cameras. Usually this will fix any small glitches the brand has found, as well as potentially enable new features too. Mostly I find that it just helps make my camera more stable, which is very, very, very important for wedding photography. I'll also go through all my cards and relegate any that have seen heavy use into my backup pile. And then I'll usually buy some faster cards for every season. The cost on faster cards seems to come down, or cards get faster and the card maybe stays the same price. I'll put links to what I use in the description. Overall, it's just nice to have faster cards because when you get home from the wedding, I like to have everything backed up online before I go to bed. So a slow card backing up at nighttime is not the most fun. I also tend to download my cards over dinner and start culling. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my culling process later in this video. But I will download cards at dinner, and it's nice if they're faster cards, so I replace older cards with faster ones, and it speeds my life up. Although it doesn't really actually do a whole lot for the card when it's actually in the camera. I find my cameras are just the same speed. It just helps me out once that card is out of the camera and loading into a computer or onto a hard drive. My wife Lindsay shoots about 30 weddings a year, and to keep organized, she has this box with labels for each card and a corresponding dry erase label up top here, as well as it's documented in an Excel file that attaches it to that specific wedding. Once a wedding is officially delivered, that card can be used at another wedding. I'll put links to everything I'm mentioning in the description here, but it's a great way to keep yourself organized if you are shooting a lot of volume. When it comes to hard drives, I would recommend getting a solid state drive for at least your working drive, or a laptop that's upgraded enough that you can do all of your work, at least in Lightroom on it. The speed difference when it comes to solid state drives versus the older spinny drives, at least in Lightroom, is very, very, very noticeable. When importing, things almost happen instantly. Whereas on a platter drive, I might be waiting 10, 15, 20 minutes for my images to load into Lightroom. For my gear, I'm usually using lenses and cameras a little bit over the off season, so I know that everything is in working order. If it has been a few months since I've used a lens on a camera, it might be worth testing out to make sure the autofocus is still functioning correctly. I've also had interior elements shift over time on third-party lenses, so I like to make sure that the autofocus is working and there's no soft spots in the lens, so I'll just look at myself in a mirror and just photograph myself all across the entirety of the lens to make sure everything's still in functional order. Now into backend systems. So I'm a part owner in a company called Focal, and we have a great CRM solution, which basically means all of your contracts and everything are going to be in one spot, as well as questionnaires that you can send out to your couples. I would say 100% make a secondary backup somewhere, maybe even a third backup somewhere. So you have it in your calendar, maybe your Google Cal, and then maybe you also have a paper offline version as well of your full, at least the wedding dates, maybe engagement sessions. You don't have to double back up or triple back up like that. But for the actual wedding dates, to have a paper calendar with everything on it, it's very, very nice. Next up, galleries. Let's talk about Pic-Time. Link down below as well. And you also get, if you sign up for Pic-Time with my trial link, one, you get a free month trial to make sure it's the correct thing for you. And two, you get access to all of my presets for Lightroom as well. So that comes free when you sign up for Pic-Time using that link down below. And my preset catalog is usually $89 US on its own. So you don't have to pay that. You just get them for free. I use Pic-Time for my galleries. It comes with really, really helpful automations as well. So I didn't used to sell a lot of print products, but with the built-in automations that I basically just one-click enable, I am now selling print products for the first time really in a bunch of years. So the system kind of just pays for itself, that you're generating new revenue that you wouldn't have gotten. So it covers itself, which is really, really nice. It's also, I would consider it to be maybe the most professional and wedding looking gallery system out there. So definitely give them a shot. I am a huge fan of what they built over at Pic-Time. Next up, backup strategy. Hopefully you already have this in place. If you're going into the second year or third year, I back everything up online. So I shoot RAW and JPEG in my camera. And when I get home from a wedding, I'll put all those JPEGs into the cloud. So I have an offsite backup immediately. If you are using Imagen for your image editing, if you are using them for culling, we're going to talk about culling in a minute here, you actually will make a backup offsite, and you're not backing up JPEGs, you're actually backing up smart preview of RAW files, so DNGs. So if you ever do need to use them, you have a lot more latitude. Whereas when I just have my JPEGs backed up online, you've pretty limited exposure and white balance tweaks that you can do. With a DNG version, you just have a lot more leverage over that file. So think about how you're going to back things up, because it is important for us as wedding photographers to have backups of backups of backups. Next up, insurance. Make sure you still have it, or if you don't have it, sign up for it. Not only to protect your gear, but also liability as well. Depending on which country you live in the world, there's different options for this, but there's usually an all-inclusive package that you can get that will include all of these things for you as a photo and or video creator. Next up, email templates. Hopefully you have some email templates, or you're using some sort of AI solution to help you write email a lot faster. I tend to maybe once every 2 years update my email templates. I use a stock response that I modify when new inquiries come in. And I just make sure that those are up to date with the current way that I speak on social media, as well as through email and as well as on my website, to make sure everything is a nice cohesive package that feels really professional together. Now, for culling. So I talked about how I cull sometimes at dinner, and I'll make my image selects, then I'll get home and I'll be pretty much ready to send everything to Imagen. You can also use Imagen for culling. And I mentioned that if you are using it for culling, then it's going to make a full gallery backup as well for DNG files. What Imagen culling does is it helps you specifically, I would say, just for the family photos. It's incredibly valuable that it will just go through if people are blinking. It's not going to choose that image. It's going to choose the best one. But overall, especially if you're like me and the switch to mirrorless, I feel like I'm shooting double or triple the number of images that I used to shoot. So using AI culling at least brings me back down. I'm not making it do a complete tight cull to exactly the images that I'm going to deliver. But if it gets me down from maybe 4,000 images on a wedding day to 1,000 images, and then I refine from there and get down to about 700, it saves me a lot of time. So Imagen culling, it's getting very, very good. And over this wedding season and for the next years, it's only going to continue to progress and get even better. When it comes to video editing, so I do highlight videos as well. So I'll do both photography coverage and highlight video. If you're on the member site, you get access to Taylor Jackson's method, which is my full method for doing this. For editing and for color correction, Imagen is now doing color correction for video as well, which is really, really exciting. One of the hardest parts or the most time-consuming parts is to color correct your videos and to make sure all the cameras match. So if you're hiring a second photographer and maybe you're a Sony or a Nikon or a Canon shooter and they're shooting something else, now it's going to be automatically matched so all your cameras will look good together. And I guess I should have mentioned that for the image editing as well. That it's going to go through, it's going to basically make a very cohesive feeling gallery across all systems that you might include on a wedding day. Now, the last one, and probably the one that I'm the worst at, if you're a second photographer of mine, you know this. I tend to only reach out to people to ask them to second shoot maybe 3 weeks or a month before the wedding. And sometimes I find myself in a bit of a jam. So if you're sitting, you're looking at your calendar right now, you know the dates you're going to need a second photographer, just start reaching out right now. Don't be like me. Don't wait. Just do it right now. If you do one thing today, sign up to Imagen, and then also just start reaching out to your friends and figuring out who is going to work with you on wedding days. There it is, getting ready for the wedding season. If you have any tips, feel free to put them in the comments below. And if you want to go see a full real life behind the scenes wedding day that's even more advanced than this because we do a lot of off-camera flash, check out the video on the screen right now with Jason Vincent. We go to Mexico, we take pictures. People are surprised that this video is online for free. You can watch it right now for free. See you there.